Merry Christmas. I was told or asked to come up with either a favorite tradition, a favorite movie, Christmas present, something along those lines. So this one is for Mom and Dad. Probably one of the most favorite Christmas gifts I ever received. And for many of you, you'll be too young to even know what I'm talking about probably. But all of my friends, when I was about 13 years old, had gotten three-wheelers. Living in the countryside the way I did, all I wanted was a three-wheeler. Mom and Dad, no, it's too dangerous, you're gonna get hurt. So I was thoroughly convinced that was not going to be a present I would ever receive. Christmas Eve night, we had a tradition that we opened all of our presents to each other in the family. And somehow my brother and my father had slipped out and I didn't notice it. And we got done with all the presents. And my parents pulled this one box out and said, Shane, here's one more for you. So I was like, okay. So I opened this box up. Well, inside was a helmet. Immediately I knew what that meant. And the only place that I could even think of was out on our back patio deck. So I immediately sprint through the house, slide the glass door open, and sure enough, sitting there was not a three-wheeler, but it was a four-wheeler because the industry had just come out with these little four-wheelers, and so they were much safer because they weren't tripod and gonna tip over. And it was cold, and I was in a pair of shorts. And for those of you who know me now, can't imagine that I would have been in a pair of shorts in the middle of wintertime, but pair of shorts and a t-shirt, no socks on, jumped on that four-wheeler on our back patio deck, had it cranked up before anybody knew I'd made it out of the house. And I sat there the rest of the night, never went to sleep, just waiting for the next morning so that we could lift it off the patio so that I could take it for its first spin. So that was one of the best Christmas gifts I had ever received.
All right, so my favorite thing about Christmas is my mom's homemade banana nougat cookies. She's made them my whole life and they're so good, but she refuses to make them anytime but Christmas, so it's like a special treat.
Hey, this is Ray from KeeFORCE. My favorite memory of Christmas from a youngster was the first time I saw one of our desserts set on fire. With like blue flames and everything. In England, we quite like our alcohol, and the Christmas puddings are literally a large chunk of alcohol, so much so that when you get them to warm them up the outside, you actually set them on fire and the blue glows and it gets all nice and crispy. It's awesome.
My favorite Christmas tradition is Christmas morning breakfast. My family gets together Christmas morning and they have a big country style breakfast.
My favorite Christmas tradition is that my mother-in-law taught me how to make homemade rolls. It's a family recipe, and so now I get to make them every single year, but they're delicious.
My favorite Christmas tradition will be eating spaghetti on Christmas Eve. So my dad was a UPS driver, so he delivered packages, and on Christmas Eve, there was no telling how late he would come in. I mean, some nights he would deliver packages, 8, 9 o'clock at night. So we never knew when he was gonna come in for the night. So we made spaghetti because it's so quick and easy to fix, so that on Christmas Eve, we could get it fixed real quick when he got home and still have dinner together as a family for Christmas Eve. So even as grown adults now, me and my siblings, we still eat spaghetti for Christmas Eve. Even though we're in our late 20s, we still have to have spaghetti, and it will always be that way.
So my favorite Christmas tradition, story would be whenever, only like 2 years ago, whenever my cousin got me this one gift. So for the past 4 or 5 years, I started off a tradition that I didn't mean to, is I bought him something pretty expensive, of something that he would really like. And when he opened it, of course, he was like, I'm gonna get you next year. So then now every year we've been trying to one up each other. And at this point, we're at like a couple $100s worth of a gift every year. And this year is probably gonna really hurt me in terms of pricing. But last year, all the family was gathered around and he brings out my gift and he's straining to hold this up. And I grab it and this thing weighs every 40, 50 pounds. And everyone's sitting around waiting to see what it is. Everybody else opened all their gifts. We got sweaters, got candles and all this other stuff. And then I'm ripping this open and I open up the box and I pull out this 40-pound sword. This thing is probably as tall as me and the blade was about as wide as this. And I like hoist this thing up and everyone's just like, they don't know what to expect. They're all like a lot of old people, a lot of everyone from just different regions, and just pulling out a 40-something pound sword and holding it up. Everyone's just like awestruck, and Of course, he left the tag on it. Usually you take that off. You don't want people to know. But he's got to know that he definitely one-upped me there. But now I've got this 40-something pound sword that is super fun to pose with and in different situations, and just pulling it out to cut a ham or something is just fantastic.
So one of our family traditions for Christmas is that we all buy each other pajama pants on Christmas Eve, and then we open them up Christmas Eve, we wear them that night, and then for Christmas morning. But my husband is not so much of a pajama pant guy, so my last couple years tradition has been going back in the closet to the 20 pair that are in there and rewrapping one of them for Christmas that morning.
All right, my favorite Christmas movie is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and you know the one I'm talking about.
So for Christmas Eve, we usually do chili and hot tamales, and the next day is your normal Christmas feast.
So what I like to do whenever it's Christmas is, if I have people that I know don't like receiving like really nice gifts or anything like that, and they're being difficult about saying like what they want for Christmas, I'll be like, you gotta tell me something, or I'm just gonna get you the nicest thing that I know you're gonna like. They just freak out, no, I'll think of something. And then the next day they'll send me what they want for Christmas so that I don't have to keep bugging them.
So my favorite Christmas memory was getting my Super Nintendo when I was 13 years old in '97. That's mine.
So my favorite Christmas tradition with the family is we all get together and watch Christmas Vacation. It's like been an annual thing since I was a kid.
My favorite Christmas movie is fairly new. It's called Spirited, with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. Kind of a new take on the Dickens Christmas Carol, but very worth the watch. Very funny.
Okay, my favorite Christmas memory would be as a kid. All of my friends in my neighborhood had bicycles, and I did not have one, and I got one that year for Christmas. So I was excited that I got to be able to ride around the neighborhood with my friends and have a bike and be included.
My favorite thing about Christmas is getting that day and a half off work.
So my favorite Christmas movie is A Muppet Christmas Carol.
My favorite Christmas tradition is we play a card game called Pitch every year, and we create a bracket for it, and so that's our tradition every year, and I'm hoping this year that I'll actually win, so we'll see.
From all of us here at KeeFORCE, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. We appreciate every single one of you. We hope you have a very great holiday season.